Hello there dear YouTubers, my name is King1993 and today I am making a video regarding this emulator called the Mumu emulator, and there are some interesting topic about this emulator which might get you excited in downloading this emulator. Okay, now first of all, to understand that I use this emulator to play the game called the Punishing Grey Raven, because even though many of the other YouTubers suggested that you download the other emulator called the LD player, the problem which I had with the LD player was that the LD player, okay, they were not showing a consistent result of more than 60 frame per second. Okay, for example, if I were to run this game, then you can definitely see that this game runs at 120 frames per second. As you can see here, the frame rates are now at near 120 frames. Now the question is, why is this emulator doing that and the other emulator which other YouTubers are suggesting are not showing 120 frames per second? Well, that is because this Mumu emulator is made in such a way that it will only provide you with the gaming equipments that you need. Okay, so this emulator will only provide you with the bare minimum requirement that you need in order for a emulator to run 100% properly. Okay, and that is why this emulator is something which I would recommend for any people. Okay, now there are some other things that you must need to understand, that the Punishing Grey Raven game started in July 16, and I have been playing this game for a matter of 3 months. Okay, and of all the emulator that I have used, this Mumu emulator was the one that was the worst emulator, and now it is one of the best emulator. Okay, so basically speaking, what happens was each version of this emulator changed. For example, this Mumu emulator, if you just go to this update section, if you just go to this website, then what will happen is you will not find where you can find the latest updates of this emulator. Okay, but if you click on these updates, what will happen is it will launch you onto the same page. And here is the thing, the current version which I have installed on my PC right now is 5.2.5.19.1. okay, this is the current one which I am using right now, and the one before that was 2.5.18. okay, now there was a certain problem with this 18. Basically what happens was, whenever I launched this emulator would not launch 100% properly. Basically speaking, there is a certain bar when you open this emulator, it shows from this place to here, and it must need to be at 100% for this emulator to fully open, but this percentage rate would stop at 98 or 99. okay, so that is the main problem which I had with this 2.5.18. and before that I started in the 2.5.17. in 2.5.17 this app would continuously crash. Like while I was playing the game, this app would continuously crash, and that is the main reason why I said that this emulator started from the worst emulator to actually the best emulator. Okay, now in case if you are wondering, is the gameplay frame rates consistent? Yes, it is consistent. So let me show you a 2.5 or maybe 2 minutes 30 seconds of gameplay, and it will give you an idea of whether it is actually good or not. Okay, and while I am doing this gameplay, I might not be able to talk, because talking in between games, highly concentrated game, and talking is actually a hard thing for me, because there is a lot of movement that must need to be monitored. Okay, okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna play this challenge mode Warzone. Okay, And the one which I am planning on playing is the area 3, because the area 3 will give you far better result regarding what type of frame rates you are actually getting or not. Okay, so let the fight begin and let's see if this emulator is actually good or not. Look at the frame rates. Okay, so as you probably saw that this game I was playing, it had a certain moment of up and down when the frame rates happen, but actually you can now see a proper idea of how much frame rate you are actually seeing. You are seeing more than 60 frames per second, which is more than enough for these fast action gameplays to happen properly, because in a fast action gameplay the main thing is the frame per second, or as much as smoothness as possible, and I was able to get this smoothness in this emulator when compared to some other emulator that other YouTubers are suggesting that the LD emulator is better. I am saying no, LD emulator is not better, this emulator is better. Okay, and in case if you are wondering am I being sponsored by them, no, I'm just saying what is actually happening. I don't have enough views or subscribers to get actually sponsored by that. Now in case of the setting, if you are wondering what type of setting am I doing, now if I show you the setting, then you will probably see that all of this setting is now at ultra, and there is no cut in between the videos. So basically what I am seeing showing you is basically a total video in general. Okay, so obviously when it comes to the superiority of the emulator, obviously this emulator is better. Now in case of the settings, let me show you what settings do I actually use while playing this emulator. Okay, now I'm gonna show you two type of settings. One is the emulator setting, second is the control setting. First of all, I'm gonna show you the emulator setting. Now in the emulator setting, the first thing you must need to do when you first install this emulator is to make sure that you remove this boss key, because this boss key prevents the modifications of this emulator. So remove this tick mark, as it is shown here. There is no tick mark here, and then it is gonna be in this place by default, and it is normally shown in this category. You must need to select custom and then select CPU at 4 and memory also at 4. If you have enough RAM in your PC, for example I have 16 GB of RAM, so obviously this 4 GB is nothing. And I also tick on this rendering acceleration. Basically speaking, it will cause a smoothness of your game. Okay, whatever game you are playing, it will cause the smoothness to occur on overall everything. Okay, now for the interface, it was basically this was what was selected, but what I did, I used my 1080p monitor setting, and this is something that it gets converted automatically. So basically when you put your monitor resolution in the width and height, okay, this is what the DPI outcome will become. And I also selected this show FPS, and as a result this FPS is being shown here. Okay, and everything is the same. And when it comes to the property, I did nothing here, but in this game setting I have clicked here that extra high FPS mode, 120 frame per second. The mode is suitable for high-end PCs and a refresh rate of at least 120 hertz. Okay, and what is my monitor? My monitor is called Mac 241C, and this monitor is a gaming monitor which has a frame rates of 144 frames per second. Okay, so based on that, I have activated these 120 frames, and now I am seeing a very smooth gameplay. That is basically the settings when I am using the graphics related issues or the frame rates. Now what about the configuration? Now for the configuration, it differs from person to person. For example, the current configuration which I am using right now is this WASD and this shift. Okay, shift, I have put the shift in the what should I call it, dodge position. Okay, so when my character dodge, I use the shift key. Okay, and sometimes I even use the mouse and click on this area instead. And in case of these two are basically placed where the other characters can be switched. For example, I have put this 1 and 2, and basically let's say if I were to select 3 characters, then obviously if I were to click 1, then the top one will come to the field, or the top one's QTE will be activated. The similar can be said about this second one as well. Now this is something that it will differ from person to person. I am more of a mouse and keyboard type of person, so as a result keyboard mapping all the time, it will cause a certain brain function in my head to cause some problem, and to make sure that problem doesn't happen, I actually do not use more than these few keys. Okay, more than this 1 2 3 4, these total 4 keys. So it will depend on you, and I will not gonna explain which other method you should be using, but that is basically it regarding this emulator. And make sure that you get the latest version, because the latest version is actually the most stable version right now. Okay, let me show it to you again. Where can you get it? Once you go to this mumuglobal.com, select on the updates, and once you select on the updates, use this, not offline installer, use this one, Mumu emulator 2.5.19, and I have downloaded the 64-bit version. That is because 64-bit version is always gonna be faster than 32-bit version. Okay, so download the 64-bit version and you will be able to play it properly. In case if you are wondering that am I lying or not, okay, let me show you my other things, such as here it is, 2.5.19. okay, so make sure that you download the 2.5.19, because this one, okay, this newest version is the most stable version. Your app will not crash, your frame rates is gonna be stable, your emulator app is gonna restart very easily, and it is not gonna lag. Okay, so obviously for any people who is still wondering which emulator is the best, even after downloading LD player or let's say some other, then I highly suggest that you try this one, and this one should be give you bit of comfortness when it comes to the frame per second. Okay, so anyway, if you like this video, then please give a like and subscribe and click the bell notification icons. Otherwise YouTube algorithm will not show this type of content to other people. Okay, so thank you.